Okay, now we're going to divide 24 into 13.824. And our divisor does not contain a decimal point, only our dividend. So all we have to do is bring up this decimal point into the quotient to set up the division. All right, now we start dividing. Let's divide 24 into 138. So that goes about 5 times. And we'll multiply 24 times 5. And we get 120. Line that up. And subtract. And now bring down the 2. All right, 24 into 182. That goes about 7 times. So now let's multiply 24 times 7. And 7 times 2 is 14 and 2. So we get 168. All right, let's put that here. And now subtract. Okay, we're going to borrow. Make that a 7. All right, now let's bring down the 4. 24 into 144, about 6 times. All right, let's multiply 24 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12, and 2. So we have an exact division. 6 times 24 is 144. Remainder 0. And there's our quotient, 0.576. Okay, now we're going to divide 32 into 0.1696. Again, our divisor doesn't contain a decimal point, so all we have to do is bring up this decimal point into the quotient and start the division. So let's do 32 into, well, 32 doesn't go into 16, but let's try 32 into 169, and that's about, let's say 5. Let's try 5. 5 times 3 is 15, and 1 is 16, so we get 160. All right, 5 times. Let's put the 5 right there at the, right above the 9 in the 169. Okay, to the, to the right, right aligned, and we have to fill these 2 places that are to the right of the decimal point with zeros. Let's not forget to do that. All right, 5 times 32 is 160. And now just bring down the 6. And let's see, I think that's exactly 3. Okay, so we have, again, an exact division. 3 times 32 is 96. And here's our quotient. Okay, let's divide 0.13 into 0.3926. Okay, now we do have a decimal in the divisor, so in order to, before we begin our division, we're going to move this over 2 places, and to compensate, we move 2 places in the dividend as well. All right, so let's rewrite this. So now we have 13 divided into 39.26. That's an equivalent division. And now bring up, at this point, we're going to bring up the decimal point into the quotient. Okay, so now let's start our division. Let's try 13 times 3. And let's see, we get 39, so let's put that here. Okay, that's remainder 0. All right, now bring down the 2. Okay, 13 doesn't go into 2, so we're going to bring down another digit, 6. But right away, whenever we have 2 arrows in a row like this, two arrows that are the same length, that is, when we bring down 2 digits at a time, we have to put a 0 up in our quotient. All right, so that's just to hold the place. So now we're doing 13 into 26. So that's exactly 2 times 2 times 13, and we have remainder 0, so here's our quotient. Divide 0.28 into 357.2, and we're asked to round to the nearest hundredth, so we don't expect an exact division necessarily. All right, here we do have a decimal in the divisor, so we're going to move that to the end of the number, 2 places. We'll move this 2 places. We're going to have to put a 0 here to hold that spot. All right, so we're doing 28 into 35720. That's our equivalent division. Here's our decimal. Put it up in the quotient. And then since we're asked to round to the nearest hundredth, we'll put in a 10th place, a 100th place, and 1 for rounding. Okay, let's start our division. 28 into 35 is 1 time. Subtract, we get 7. Let's do 2 times. 28 times 2. We have 56. Let's put that in. Subtract, and we have 21. Okay. Let's bring down this 2. And let's try 7 times 28 times 7. Seven times 2 is 14, and 5 is 19, so here we have 196. We'll subtract, we get 16. Okay, let's see, we need to put our 7 over there. All right, and now we're ready to bring down this 0. 28 into 160. Let's try 5 times. Okay, here we multiply. 5 times 2 is 10, so we have 140. Let's try. Let's see. Let's put that in. Subtract, we have 20. Let's bring down a 0. Okay. 28 into 200. Let's see, let's try 7 times. Okay, we have that over here. 28 times 7 is 196. So let's do that. Remainder 4. Okay, that's our first decimal place. Bring down the 0 for our second decimal place. And we have just 1 time. Subtract. We have 12. All right, let's bring down 1 more 0 for rounding. Okay, 1 more 0 for rounding. And let's try 4 times. Okay, put down the 2, carry the 3. 4 times 2 is 8. And then we have 11. Okay. All right, so we only have to carry the division this far. We needed the thousandth place for rounding to the nearest hundredth. Now, since this number is less than 5, we don't round up. We're just going to drop. All right, so this is our quotient, rounded to the nearest hundredth. Okay, again, we're asked to round to the nearest hundredth, so let's divide 32 into 2.785. Okay, just bring up the decimal into the quotient. We don't have to move a decimal place. We don't have a decimal place in the divisor. Okay, so let's start our division. 32 doesn't go into 27, so put a 0 here. We're going to do 32 into 278. We put that 0 to hold the place. All right, so let's try 5 times. Sorry, I meant let's try 8 times. So let's do 32 times 8. And we have 256. Okay, subtract, and we have 22. Bring down the 5. And now we'll try 7 times. 7 times 3 is 21, and 1 is 22. Okay, we can stop there because we have to round to the nearest hundredth. So we just have to carry this division to the thousandth place, which we did. This is a tenth, hundredth, thousandth, and we needed that thousandth place in order to round to the nearest hundredth. So now this number is 5 or more. So now we are going to add 1 when we round. So we're going to say that the quotient is approximately equal to, here's the symbol for approximately equal to, 0.09. That's our quotient rounded to the nearest hundredth.